agendas and minutes, which are kept in a Google Drive folder, and also the stream, which just got live.
Hey!
So I think the stream is now live.
So when are we going to buy a hotspot for the con?
Evidently, we're going to have to if the hotel Wi-Fi continues to be this unstable. Or we just find a different place to do the meetings where the Wi-Fi is more usable.
It's never been usable.
Why don't you just get the right password?
Huh?
Probably works for the right
People
password.
are like, we have to ask for it like every month.
Okay, so everybody in the chat as well, please look over the agenda and the general updates section, and if there are any questions, please post them. And Shuk is copying a link into there right now. Anyone else in the room? Questions on updates? Has everybody finished reading them? Looks like Abe is still working on it. Let me give them another minute or two.
Hey, there's a question.
Go ahead. Who?
There's a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know it's not our department, but the pools. Clearly, we're going to have to do something about keeping everyone else out while allowing us to come in.
Yeah, the first thing I'm going to try to do is see if because they already have the hotel already has a person at the entrance to the pool anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can talk the hotel, or rather, and have you see if we can talk the hotel into having that person just check for badges during that time too. So,
like what we did with the dealer's den, had some of their staff help us out.
hopefully we won't have to hire people from ESI to do that. If we do, so be it. But we're going to try to see if we can just get the hotel to do it, because they've already got a person there anyway.
Yep.
So, you got that on your notes, Sika?
Then the other thing is because it is a pool area, and a lot of people have attachments that they attach to their badge and lanyards and whatnot, would we be able to provide like a dry bucket or something? That's what we did at another con that I staffed before.
Maybe, but I think that's going to get overwhelmed really fast. It would probably be better to just tell people to leave that stuff in their rooms.
Okay.
And we have a few people who are here at the con who don't have a room, but we don't have that many. Most everybody who's at the con does have a room.
I'll just interject. What's actually really nice about the way that they've remodeled the new pool, I don't know if you've checked it out, but there is like this huge, just pool chairs available. So, I mean, yeah, we'll probably overrun those, but there is at least half of that space isn't wet. So you can have a space to leave your things.
So,
But you'd still want to leave things that are not valuable, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going down to the pool,
But we'd still need badges to identify to get in, so...
We figured out those are waterproof.
Space, just keep it under your towel.
and you're not wearing your badge in the pool.
You can.
Yeah.
I just figured that out last night.
Oh.
I double checked the badges from last year. I soaked them in bleach water for hours and they didn't change. So you could actually bring your badge and just keep it in a pocket in your shorts or in your swimsuit or whatever. So at least keeping your con badge won't be difficult.
Yeah. Just leave all the extras in the room.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Try to come down with just a con badge and maybe a credit card if you want to buy a drink. I don't know if the pool area has a question from the chat. If pool has lockers, I don't know if they have lockers or not. Do you happen to know, Sitka?
I haven't seen.
You don't know, or you know they do not. You don't know. Okay.
Child check.
I'm leaning towards the side of no, just from what I've seen.
I will check for.
Well, they do have that building back there, so
Yeah.
I don't know if they may be in there.
Possibly.
That could just be chemical storage and pumps.
Yeah, probably it's just the pumps.
Yeah.
When you're moving that much water.
Well, I think the pump house is that building that's next to that's basically next to the dealer's den, that little exterior outbuilding.
Yeah, they built a pump house right next
Yeah.
to it.
If I may, I figure like a lot of hotel pools, they assume that your storage is going to be in your hotel room.
Right. Now, that said, we are going to have a small number of attendees who are either local and just arriving to the con every day, or well, they'll have a car,
I'm just noting that I have not seen many hotel pools that have featured lockers.
Yeah,
because
I haven't
there's
either.
Not really any need.
And there's going to be a few people who are staying in other hotels. What's up?
Maybe if we could put on the website, plan, like somewhere on there where it mentions the pools, just say lockers not available, if we can confirm that, so people know.
That's fair.
Also make a point of mentioning bring only badge and towel into pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't even need to bring a towel. They should have lots of those.
Yeah, they'll have a pool chair and like a towel person usually. And also, it says right on here they can bring pool toys in 80. So if you want to whip your doodle around.
That was actually a question I got from some of the furries who are into the big pool toys,
Oh, they inflatable.
like the big inflatables.
Oh, you mean like those orcas and stuff?
Well, some of them are willing to risk their $500,000 inflatable, custom inflatables that they paid good money for. Many of them aren't, but some of them are willing to risk those things just so everybody can enjoy them. And for those who do, as long as the answer I got from the hotel is as long as it doesn't get out of control, and as long as the lifeguard can still see that someone is drowning in the bottom of the pool, they'll probably be okay with it. It's mainly the lifeguard needs to be able to see that there's some unconscious person sitting in the bottom of the pool.
So basically, we can't argue with the 17 and a half or 18-year-old that they hired to watch it.
Correct. What the lifeguard says goes.
Yep.
It is up to lifeguard discretion.
And I don't care if it's that kid from The Simpsons that has a weird voice.
That hasn't changed.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is only during our time.
Yeah, that's true. We kind of can't bring down inflatables down when like
Yeah, not during the rest of the week,
Joe
not during the rest of the
Joe
night.
and Jane hotel guests.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely need to delineate that. You know, like,
I already wrote down.
Oh,
Any other questions? Cool. Oh yeah, I can't do that. Because that makes a big thump in the microphone. Sorry, everybody wearing headphones. Okay, well that's the first page and a half of the agenda done. Because I'm not going through updates one at a time anymore. So first discussion topic on here is talking about the current layout, which there is a rough idea of the layout is printed and in your and at the end of the agenda there. You can kind of ignore the mezzanine room because it's all the mezzanine rooms and they're all panel rooms. But we printed it in there for reference anyway. The two main ones to talk about is the other two big rooms. I will make one mention about the mezzanine room. There's one other layout item in there that we didn't put on this drawing, which is that we want to try and put a small info table at the, just right at the top of the escalator, basically, so that Reds and company can answer questions from people without having to try and find some other place to be. But we'll still use the pantries as storage, which actually, it looks like they're more secure storage now, because there's no window between the pantries and the rooms anymore, judging by what they did in this room. And as for, to your question earlier, as for whether or not we can get access to the TVs in the meeting rooms, we basically just need to talk with Susie and figure out what kind of a deal she can cut us for doing all the TVs in all the meeting rooms for the whole weekend. And hopefully if we do it across the board, then they'll give us a reasonable price instead of $300 a day. That was their, yeah, when I asked about getting that TV just for this meeting, the answer was $300 to get that TV for this meeting. And the only reason we're using it is because it already appeared to be set up. I did not pay $300 to use a TV for 2 hours.
Just tab out if somebody walks in.
So, yeah, they'll probably just bill me. Exactly. No, I very explicitly said no thanks to that. Okay, so the rest of the layout on the drawing. Current thinking is to move the main fursuit lounge for the whole con, sort of the big primary lounge, to be in the little ballroom upstairs, which is where video gaming and tabletop gaming were 2 years ago, if you remember.
That's where we had the staff dinner.
And that's where we had the staff dinner last year, correct?
Where will the staff dinner be?
That's a good question. We haven't figured that out yet.
I was gonna ask that.
Hopefully not in the main fursuit lounge, because that's not gonna be good appealing smell for a staff dinner.
And I don't want all that.
No, no, let's not do that.
Carson 3 and 4.
Carson 3 and 4 might work, even if we're using it for something else, like maybe an escape room or something like that. Just shut it down early on Sunday and transform it into staff dinner. We could probably we might even be able to use a panel room for it. I think a panel room might be a little small, but we're in the smallest panel room right now. All of the other panel rooms up here on the mezzanine are about twice this size, so that might work. What's up, babe?
We could probably also use N1 through 5.
Possibly. It depends on what else they're being used for and whether we want to keep that running on Sunday or not.
Right.
But there's going to be something that we can shut down Sunday that we could steal that room for the staff dinner by Sunday night. I'm pretty sure. Abe, you had a question?
Yes. The person who handles the arcade is unfortunately not at this meeting.
Right.
So him and his company, GameStar, his backstock of machines is to the point where he could probably fill the majority of Carson 3 and 4.
Okay. Now, my concern about Carson 3 and 4, and the reason why it was a headless lounge last year, is because Carson 4 cannot be secured. There is no way to secure that room. Carson 1, 2, and 3 can be secured, but 4 cannot be.
I just stay guarded.
Fursuit lounge, the most secure out of those two, anyway. It can literally lock up.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Carson 1 cannot.
Carson 1 can.
There's that airwall.
Oh, that's true. That's true. There is a small air wall gap. You got to be really scrawny to fit
I
through
mean,
there.
that's up to Abe, but I mean.
Well,
We solved it last year,
that
but
can kind of be solved by an item that I think it might be more appropriate to bring up towards the end of the meeting regarding staffing for the video game department.
I just wanted to put it out there to remember.
Right.
Also, as far as the dinner goes, I don't think we should go any smaller than where it was perfect.
yep, I would agree.
That was freaking perfect.
That was a good, electrical unit stays, so
Yep.
that room will stage.
It couldn't go any smaller than that.
Okay.
Especially seeing as we are growing.
Just carve out a corner of main stage for your games. Just put up some pipe and drape. Don't come back, it's the secret dinner room.
Actually, what about the art room? We had it shut down pretty much by noon last year.
An art show?
Yeah, the art show on Sunday.
There's still pickup though.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I mean, we stopped for bidding, but everybody still has to come in and pick up what they bought.
And also all your stands and stuff are still up.
Yeah.
They're broken down.
Well,
I don't think
if
so.
you're worried about the dinner, we can always host it in one of the N1 through 4
Yeah.
panel rooms. I mean, those are currently empty,
Yep.
pending some additions, but those additions might be small enough that they probably won't interfere with any of the dinner.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, we can at least use what was like. We could, for example, use the like N1+2 if they're going to be the escape room thing, or if one of them is like a quiet lounge, we can steal that too for Sunday night. We'll be able to find something, I'm pretty sure, but we got to keep that in mind and make sure that we carve out a space for that on Sunday night. I will also mention all these drawings are not to scale with each other, so just because that ballroom looks bigger than N1 through N3 doesn't mean it is necessarily. What?
Another question about so are we doing reg the same way at the beginning, or is reg going to be in con?
Reg on Thursday is still going to be the same as it was last year. Wednesday and Thursday, although we should have the Nevada room this time, so we don't have to move up to the ballroom on Wednesday. we should be able to keep it in the same place Wednesday and Thursday, thankfully.
I'm excited.
But I think Friday onward, I don't see a reason to continue running pre-reg as pre-reg. It's better off to just merge that into AtCon Reg and be done with it. And Morris agrees with that too.
We're down to such a small amount of people actually picking up.
Yeah.
I do still want to do staff pickup at the volunteer desk.
On a side note from that, I'm also toying with the idea of all the staff we know of ahead of con.
Just give them the stuff before the con.
Kusha, I can't really hear other people over you.
So, yeah.
I'm having trouble hearing other people over you. Your voice carries very well. The other thing I'm considering doing for staff, for at least all the staff members we know we have before the con, is just mail them everything. A few of them may forget them at home, but most of them will remember to bring it, and then they can hit the ground running when they get to the con. And if for the few who forget their badge at home, we'll just print it again. They'll still have all their swag and stuff that they're supposed to get. It's just going to be stuck at home, but at least they'll have it.
Sure.
It'll cost us some money to ship all that stuff out, but
A happy medium would just be giving all the local staff their stuff ahead of time, and then the out-of-states just pick up. That way, if it gets left at home, they can just go home and get it.
That's another possibility.
I like that idea. No, I'm good to you on that.
I mean, a significant portion of our staff are local. I know we have
A decent
some that
chunk.
are out, but I mean, we could save some shipping money by shipping them to those who are unable to pick up. I do like the idea of having their stuff early.
You can use it as an incentive to help with the bag you're putting together.
But I get why you want all the staff members to go through the volunteer desk to pick up their badge too. You
Not
want,
only just that, also so it reduces strain on the ops area. That was
yeah.
crowded.
No, I definitely don't want to run that out of ops
So
again
that
this year.
there's
That was a
so
bad
much more
idea.
room down where I was doing the volunteering at.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just.
And I have staffing for it.
Do you think you could do it at your normal table location, or do you think you're going to need a room for it temporarily
I can do normal
on
table
Wednesday or
location.
Thursday?
I can
Is
do it
that-
at the normal table location.
Okay.
It'd be easy, and like I said, I have the staffing for it.
You're just going to have to roll everything into a secure room overnight.
Yeah,
But
we have that.
I guess you could put that in ops probably.
Do we have that locked up room behind the ends?
Yeah, we have those.
Yeah, and we're not using it for panels this year, so I can
Right.
use it for that.
Yep. Should be fine.
I don't know, like you don't want to be in a room, you want to be out.
I want to be out. Can't
Don't put
contain
it
me.
back in the closet.
Listen, you can't do your song and dance and where people are volunteering when you're in a room. And they won't volunteer if I do a song and dance. It'll scare people away.
You need to be out there and raise your lasso people.
That I can do.
So which room did you want?
Huh?
Which room did you want?
I don't want to. Well, the
You want to be in the hall.
those locked rooms behind the ends.
Oh, the office rooms.
Yeah, the office rooms. That,
Just a
that way I
storage
just
room.
lock up the swag stuff if people don't come in on Wednesday to pick it up.
I would say probably after Thursday is over, by Friday
I can go
onward.
upstairs with the pre-res and merge.
Yeah, I would say we take all the staff bags and we just put whatever we have left and put it with the rest of the pre-reg.
All red stuff can just merge together, pre-reg red and staff regs.
Erica, did I tell you the proposal yet for how we're going to handle swag for pre-reg on Friday onward?
Nope.
Do you remember that window that faces the ballroom upstairs that's also connected to ops?
Yeah.
The larger window?
Yeah.
I'm figuring that by the time Friday rolls around, our swag is going to be consolidated enough that it's going to fit on that counter in there. And so we just put one person on that spot, and that's where you go pick up your con swag
Excellent.
after you have had your badge printed downstairs. It's a little awkward to have to send them upstairs, but at least it's pretty quick. Like the people who are in the reg window downstairs can just be like, go up those escalators, just point behind them, go up those escalators, go in the room, turn left, and pick up your stuff. Like, that shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little awkward, but I think people will figure it out.
But we don't have room in that window down there to store the swag. There's no way we could do that.
You're
And
talking the shutter room,
There
right?
is.
I think we can still run AtCon registration out of that window.
There was enough room in here to have 300 staff members equipment in there, so if you pre-read stuff, like swag items after Friday, will fit in there easy.
Are you talking about this light green
A
area?
couple years ago, did we do that as it is?
Yeah, this one up here. There was enough room. All the staff pickup stuff was done there last year.
And that was a smaller window too.
Yeah. So we should be able to definitely do
Okay.
swag.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a problem. And that's past a badge check, but the person has already gotten their badge at that point. So that's okay.
That's not a bad check?
Yeah. The whole ballroom is a badge check on the
What
door.
about the inside window?
No, the inside window.
Yeah, I'm talking about the
These are
inside
big
window.
windows. Okay.
The outside window is dedicated solely to operations so that they can deal with people and answer questions.
Are you still gonna have a section in the inside window for those operations also? People seem to take advantage of that a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too, is
They used it all off.
jamming other stuff in the comps did not work very well.
I thought that the main reason why that inside window got used a bunch was primarily because the pre-reg was trying to share the outside window.
It was utilized by people mostly because once they were inside the con space, if it was, I can't find my cell phone, I lost my wallet, have you seen my badges? They just walked over the window and said, bleh, and we went, and then gave it back to them. I mean, I can even see like, because it's a long window, you can have half the window be swag pickup, you can use the whole counter. It's just, the other half of the window is still a con ops person or two con ops people sitting there who can field those questions from inside the ballroom.
I don't think that would be a problem. Do you think that would be a problem?
I think it'd be fun.
I think
Okay.
it's like a 20-foot window or something.
Yeah, it's pretty big. What do you think, Krieger?
The issue we ran into is trying to run con-ops on a skeleton crew. We had to have at least 3 people to man both windows, and then having that big one.
Well, okay, so at nighttime, we're not planning on letting people do swag pickup anyway. We're planning on closing that window anyway.
Okay.
So I think we can close that window for swag pickup at like 9 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah, probably a good cutoff.
Ideally, we should put a registration person in there and not a con-ops person, just for the swag handling.
Because I don't want to be responsible for that.
That also means there's a registration person there, so at least keeps an eye on the window. And then if it's an ops question, they can just holler over the wall
Okay.
and say, hey, I need somebody from ops for this.
Okay.
And then that kind of saves you an ops person from having to watch both windows. And if it gets too crazy, then we just close it and you run out of just the one window in the hall.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Are you fine with that?
Yeah, I think so. For
Okay.
simplicity reasons, yeah.
Okay. And then still that hallway facing window is purely operations, nothing else.
Yeah.
Does not share with anyone else ever the whole weekend.
Please, yes.
Okay. Okay. Then there's also the side question of, well, I'll ask that later. About processing late night registration. Okay. So I'll leave that question for later. Photo booth is probably fine where it was last year. I think that worked out okay. Shane, do you feel like you want to keep the volunteer desk in the same place, or do you think there's a higher traffic place you'd rather be?
No, I like it down there.
Okay, you liked it in that spot. And you were fine with the charity table hanging out in that same area?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see a reason to move the charity table either. The whole second stage, main stage interaction actually worked really well. That air wall cut a surprising amount of sound from bleeding across from one stage to the other. Reds, panel rooms. There's a total of 7 of them up here on the mezzanine. Am I correct in assuming you probably don't want to actually have 7 panel rooms? You probably want more like 6 or 5?
Yeah. I was thinking of turning one into an artist lounge.
That would be great. I think that'd be fine.
Probably the Shasta, because I have plans for the Ruby and the tent.
Okay.
For like the bigger panels.
Okay. The other thing I did is, since it didn't seem to work very well, having meet and greets in the middle of the Nevada room ended up just really confusing people.
You want me to have it back up here?
I think we should probably just have them back in a dedicated room.
Okay.
And I don't know if you want to. We should probably still keep 5 actual panel rooms and then just have 1 room dedicated to meet and greets. And then the last one can be your artist lounge.
That would work with your other plans, because you want to have in there, and then use those also for the meet and greet rooms. Because you want to just have 2 separate ones. Well, no, you have 2 separate groups there.
Now, since we have these unused breakouts downstairs, we could do meet and greets in there instead. It just might be a little more confusing to people. If they're seeing it like it's a panel and then expect it to be up with the rest of the panel rooms and it's not.
They would come upstairs, ask us for information, and then climb down 2 floors to go to the meet and greet.
Well, at least it's escalators on both, so they don't have to fight with elevators to do that.
I still think meet and greets would work most good.
We should probably also encourage attendees to hang out up the escalator in the hangout area there, instead of in front of the bar downstairs.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
like to do that.
That was a
Stand at the bottom of the escalators and just
Yeah.
stand there.
But even at the bottom of the escalators was fine. What bothered people was whenever they were hanging out at the bar and not letting people actually get there to order drinks.
Right.
They also added a lot more seats in that area.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's why I'm
It's a lot
encouraging
prettier,
this.
too.
And people congregating in that spot is going to be something we constantly fight with. I guarantee that's going to be a constant battle. It always has been.
We would need a dedicated staff member for that.
I think last year they learned that's going to happen whether we have people up here or not.
I think part of some of that is sitting on the hotel put up signage like this area is reserved for our patrons only. If they want it to not be that, then they need to insist people order drinks.
This one we got.
I don't
Yeah.
know
That'll
about
bring
that
out
idea,
back
having a signage and I'm
I mean, if we
smart
bring it
enough
up
to come up with
to-
it.
if we bring it up to Susie, I'm sure she can just get it done.
Probably. I mean, essentially, we just need signage that says, there's plenty of other places to hang out. Arrow, arrow, arrow. Like,
Right.
feel free to hang out anywhere else but here.
This is for booze and Keno.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
So we give the barkeeps a vacuum just to chase the furries or what?
Sure.
So are we gonna try?
Sorry, we've run out of chairs.
We need some overflow seating for sure.
These meetings are getting bigger, like that.
There's a chair over there still that's free.
And chair. What are we?
And chair. And there's one more next to Sitka as well. There's not really much space left on the table, but
Yeah. Table's crowded, but there's at least 2 chairs.
So are there any thoughts about like how to prevent where is the panel room floor, or where are the panel rooms, or we're just gonna hope that people learn eventually?
Well,
You
the
can make a song about
TVs
it.
are now displaying an active map. That's helping quite a
Like
bit.
signboards.
hang on. So, proposals for Pony's suggestion.
Could we do like a signboard down outside of that hallway by the escalators? with
I think we should,
panels?
yes. Are you talking about a sandwich board that a person is
Yeah,
wearing?
No, not well.
But yeah.
Do we need to hire a sign spinner?
What department does that go under?
Where's our show?
Please put it with us so I can boss them around and have fun. with it. Make them spin it.
Much like Art Show, maybe we can just make an obnoxious flashing arrow
Well-
that says panel rooms this way.
So something I was going to point out, last time we had our panel rooms up there, the TVs weren't actually running, and now they actually do animate through several different maps, including the meeting space rooms,
That's true.
with pretty good indication where you need to go.
Yeah, they do have the little interactive map thing now, and as long as we have a schedule posted to the hotel in a reasonable time frame, they can even have that stuff show up on that board. Although some of our AD programming, we probably don't want them to actually post on there.
So we'll have to test that, but, like, we don't necessarily have to print much. We've got a pretty good tool there now that it's actually available to us 2
Right.
years later.
We're planning on doing pocket programs at all.
Absolutely, yeah. The way we did it last year is we used full-page printed sheets that were just one sheet per day of schedule. And it's not a pocket program, no.
You're a pocket program. You're a pocket program.
But the nice thing about that is you can fit the description and the panel name per day. Like FC's Pocket Program, for example. Well, actually, FC's Pocket Program does have the descriptions.
I wasn't as big of a fan
Little bit
of
of
the
sass
sheet
there.
as I am a grid. We can still do a daily sheet, but if it was in grid form, I think it'd be easier.
You guys use Sketch, right?
I wasn't going to, but I recently figured out that the pricing is based on how many people actually create accounts, not how many people are coming to your con.
Yeah, it's people who create an account and set up their own virtual Sketch.
Right. So.
Most people don't, they just go on there and look at the
Right.
schedule.
Right. So it's actually way more affordable than I was originally thinking it would be.
And also, I just don't think of a 501c3 discount off.
Yeah, except we're not a C3, we're a C7. And they have a discount for C7 as well, I believe. But the discount is only if you have an annual plan and you're doing more than one event a year.
Yeah.
So the discount's not relevant to us anyway,
No,
unfortunately.
You just have to do 2 events a year.
Barbecue.
Or another BLFC.
Yeah, because we're gonna schedule a whole bunch of panels and stuff for a one-day barbecue.
Yeah.
If it gets you a discount, then yes.
No, it would still cost more.
Okay.
That's
Listen, we do BLFC and BLFC like East, which is just BLFC, only you're doing it in August. because you can.
Are they gonna run it?
yeah. I was like, it's all I could do just to do it once a year. Like, are you guys crazy?
No, we'll do it twice a year, but the theme stays the same and everything else stays the same.
Nothing changes.
Oh, it's just like literally 2 copies of the exact same con.
We couldn't make the first one. We're doing it again in August.
Ask you to open a second Krusty Krab right next to that.
Except that we can't do it any time of the summer. We would have to do it in the middle of winter. Like that's the only schedule. That's the only time they have available. Which would then end up being right on top of FC or MFF.
They're gonna have to give us the end of October.
So
No dice.
that puts it on top of PAW. No, but that one's close. Like, you know, if it were on top of a con, like a 1,500 person con on the East Coast, I wouldn't be that concerned about it. But anyway, we're getting off topic. Layout. Dealer's Den is unchanged, other than I think we're shrinking the Fursuit Lounge and maybe making it just not Fursuit Lounge, just a general lounge.
I would love to discuss that at a later time.
Okay.
Are you thinking about making the black market larger to shrink Pursuit Lounge?
Yes, that's correct. And that means we can't use the air wall anymore, but I think, Shook, you already got a tentative okay from Bad Dragon that they're fine with just having pipe and drape behind them
Yes.
to separate them from that lounge.
Listen, if Bad Dragon has a problem with pipe, then we have a big problem.
No, just no.
Listen, Jackson, here, I have
Just put Bad Dragon in the lounge and just call it Bad Dragon and Chill.
Or we could just.
Oh, no.
Bad Dragon and Chill.
Get out.
You just have to make sure they have their unlockable room and then they can have usable testers.
Hey, they have started making their own videos on YouTube, so they can even play those in the room.
All right, let's not get off topic again here. Where was I going with that? I don't remember.
Shrink the Pursuit Lounge, potentially turn it into an.
Something that was brought up to me as a possible thing that we need to think about with our Fursuit Lounges is that we really probably should keep them actually manned with at least one person in them to watch for people who are suffering from heat stroke or otherwise having a medical issue. Because if we have staff members just checking up on lounges every few minutes, like is traditional for most cons, somebody might get into a more problematic medical state before we catch them. So as a safety thing, I have been convinced that we should probably keep the Fursuit Lounges manned.
I'll play devil's advocate against that just because there's a lot of manpower. For
I know it's a lot of manpower.
Potentially nothing, and if you just encourage people to call Flare, like I really don't feel good, something's wrong, Flare could just respond.
Can we have manned hours for the Fursuit Lounge, and then have it unmanned when there's unlikely to be a person in the heat stroke?
Yeah, maybe during like dances or something, have it be
Yeah.
manned, and then, because honestly, I generally feel like fursuiters are familiar with other
They self-regulate.
fursuit problems, and you have good Samaritans looking out for each other too.
Ema, what's your opinion on the topic, since they're your lounges?
I don't like the idea of consolidating them or reducing them because we're
Okay.
going to be growing, and it's not a good time, in my opinion, to draw back on what ended up allowing different fursuiters to go to whichever one was nearest to them, which would reduce the chance that they have a problem.
Okay.
That's your staffing question.
Oh,
They want to reduce your staff.
well, yeah, but that's inherently going to reduce the amount of hours and the time the lounges are. They're just interconnected.
So the question at hand is whether or not they need to stay manned for the sake of safety.
I would love for them to be manned. If I was in a position to have to make a compromise, something I've been wanting to do for a while now is get informational posters put up in the lounges so anyone can look at them and have examples of the signs.
Like, here's how to watch for signs of heat stroke. If someone is acting like this, call for help.
But primarily, the lounges are manned most of the time already. It's not like it's going to be a giant draw in every other department to make that a possibility.
And I think
That's
Shook and
something
I,
that's already been a reality for
Shuk, we did some back of napkin math a couple days ago, right? And tried to figure out how many staff members would be needed to actually, or how many volunteers total would be needed to keep them manned. And it was like 12 or something like that, right? Or 14 people in the department.
With like 5-hour shifts.
Right.
So
it's not a terribly large draw. It's something
We already have 166 people signed up to be volunteers, so.
I think we may
14
just,
out of that is nothing.
yeah, I think we may just need to throw a few more people at YEMA to make this more doable.
And a lot of the people that I do tend to get come back and they want to do 12-hour shifts anyway, so they'll show up even when they're not.
Well, it is actually kind of fun to run the Headless Lounge. I hang out in it a lot when I'm at cons too, because just not a lot of suitors.
I was bouncing between 3 different lounges at one point in time, and I was able to just pluck people who were just trying to get in there and chill. I'm like, hey, you're not in a suit, I can't technically let you in, but if you want to be babysitter, just watch this while I go downstairs. And then I run between all 3 stations.
You kind of conscripted people
Yeah.
who were otherwise not in suit.
Yeah, and they were more than willing to volunteer. And honestly, during the middle of the day, everyone's already on high alert for heat stroke because that's the hottest and most populated time. Where I saw people getting dehydrated the most was actually the rave. But that's for reasons I think otherwise.
That's probably because they're drinking. It's probably because they're drinking too.
Exactly.
And it's driving all the water out of their body.
Exactly.
Time periods that were already pretty self-evident for high traffic.
What I did last year to help, because we're a growing con, we have a lot going on, was having someone designated toward the main lounge and then have them every once in a while bungee jump between that and another lounge and have another person bungee jump between the 3 of them. But if I have a little more manpower, a 15-minute window is totally reasonable, or a 20-minute window.
I'd see no reason why we can't give YEMA more manpower.
Yeah, no.
Like I think we have plenty of bodies.
And I think
At this point,
it's a big benefit to have them in different places. So if
Can you link that
people
to
do what's
Shuk really quick
convenient
on
for
Telegram?
them. So they might go, okay, I'll go ahead and get cooler and stuff because it's 3 minutes away versus I have to take 20 minutes or 15 or 10, depending on how crowded we are, to get to the lounge that's probably going to be taking that capacity.
To come at it from a different angle, if there was a department saying, oh my gosh, where are my people? I need people and I'm not getting any, I think it would be a different discussion, but we don't have anybody that's short on people, so there's no reason not to staff the Fursuit Lounge.
Yeah, even registration last year, I sent people away.
So we're doing good.
Yeah, it's a really nice product.
Really quick question: how much of the time did we have to double up people on those books? What percentage total of the total time it was open did you have 2 people on a book instead of 1?
That was primarily Thursday for at least 70% of Thursday. I felt like it didn't really die down.
So we should probably divide those books up into at least twice as many as we had
That
before.
would be easier.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, sharing books wasn't a problem, but having that foresight of being able to have more books, more chairs, I do think, well, it'll just mean the rush will be through sooner.
Right.
But we're gonna end up having to consolidate them anyways once we get through that bottleneck.
Also, a small side note, Thursday registration, if AtCon registration is empty and pre-reg has people in line, send them to AtCon reg.
Okay.
Just let AtCon reg process them. That just gets through stuff faster. And if their name doesn't get pulled out of the book, it's fine. We'll catch it later. We'll see that their account was printed. It's exactly the same thing we're going to do from Friday onward anyway.
Fantastic.
So, I mean, we won't do that the other way, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, if pre-reg should still be a benefit. But if AtCon happens to be empty, yeah, send them over there. It doesn't hurt anything. Now, the way that the system's currently designed now, it hurts absolutely nothing.
I
So.
think that may be something for AtCon to send, like, a messenger down to be like, hey, come to AtCon, because if we have folks in pre-reg, that's something for.
Yeah, we might even be able to do it with signage, with just a sign that says, registered before this date, pick whichever line is shorter. Registered after this date, must go this way.
Yeah.
You know.
Every time you say that, I have to say, I think there are problems with that.
Making signs?
No, people will never remember the date that they.
I don't know how, other than giving them a way to log and check, which they should be able to do anyway. I don't know of a better way to do that. other than the day they paid for their registration.
Is this, what's the problem you're trying to solve?
Well, the trouble you're trying to solve is people getting in the wrong line, right? A runner could do that potentially. Because anybody who is paid after a certain date is not going to be in the pre-reg book, so their name will not be there, and they have to go towards AtCon registration. That's the real problem we need to solve, is to make sure people go to the right line to begin with. So, any ideas?
It's not offhand,
Don't
unfortunately.
open pre-reg, keep pre-reg closed until we
Aside from just more signage, leave it there.
Okay. I'm starting to have problems hearing people again because there's side conversations happening.
Do you think we could assign particular, so if you registered before a particular date, do you think we could assign it with either a color or a symbol of some sort? And if you registered after that date, you got something different?
Maybe?
I feel like a color would resonate better than, I don't
So-
know what date I registered.
Tycho, this is something that's easy to look up on the back end, correct?
Yeah.
So you could send them an email if it processes after a certain date, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to pretty easily be able to check their email on their phone, correct?
Correct.
Provided the Wi-Fi is email.
So we tell them to check their email for an email from us saying whether or not their pre-reg was available at such and such registration.
Okay.
And then they don't have to know offhand what date they paid.
So that sign that says, paid before this date, go that way, paid after, go that way, can't remember, check your email.
Additionally, it would be pretty easy for you to generate a table which you could likely have a link to. And then, well, not a table, but like a thing for entering their email that they used for their registration, and it tells them, yes, you're pre-reg, no, you're AtCon.
That nominally should already be built into the registration system by the
Right,
time
so
that
then
comes
at
around.
that time, your sign isn't something complicated, or when did you pay, it's, hey,
Mhm.
go to this URL and put your email in, and it will tell you what line to go in.
Yeah.
I like that. Does that cutoff date have anything to do with the ticket prices?
No, not necessarily. It's basically just the day we print the binders.
Are you gonna keep registration open after you print the binders?
When that pops up.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, say again?
Are you gonna keep registration open as you print the binders, and then, or you're gonna close it and then reopen it during the con?
No, I can just keep it open. I don't see a reason why we can't just keep it open and let people prepay.
I feel like your need for the date thing would be eliminated if you close it until the con, and then people can use their phones or laptops at the con to register.
Just to provide a little bit of a line in the sand
Yeah,
for them
or
to
the
remember.
gap to be able to say, did you register this last week?
Okay, we could do that too.
I like that.
I think that's what we did this year.
It's what we did this past year, and it had no problem for me at least, but did you find people coming to you?
So if you literally make them reg at con.
What about you? Did you see a lot of people confusing AtCon and pre-reg?
Not really, no.
Okay, and for the few that we did have those like line jumping tokens.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, where it was necessary.
okay. I think those worked out pretty well actually. We should probably repeat those.
I agree.
But we put the specific year on them, so we can't really reuse them. I mean, could, I guess, but
You just get a Sharpie and just cross it off every time.
why are you not working keyboard? God damn it! You were working earlier. Oh well.
What do you want to type?
Yeah, I lost it anyway.
Line in the sand?
The line in the sand for registration. Or registration timing for pre-reg versus AtCon. Oh, and yeah, that's what it was. And add a function to registration to tell them which line to get into. Okay. So no other concerns about the layout? It's pretty much just optimizing last year's layout, so.
Tycho? So we were talking about Bad Dragon in the lounge. What if we just switched them? That way one can have the two space.
That's not what that message meant. It was a joke.
Oh, I thought we were being serious.
No.
Oh.
That was a
Also,
gag.
it would be much harder to control the flow in and out of that road.
Yeah.
Based on the way that
I think mostly earlier that was people making dick jokes.
Yep. I was thinking about people being able to go back and forth between eliminating that by just switching the two rooms, since one would be smaller and the other one wants to be bigger.
Both of those rooms, at least if you use the air wall as the separator, both those rooms are pretty much the same size.
Okay.
They don't look it, but I think, didn't we try that and you couldn't really fit any more tables in the other room anyway?
You could fit less because there are more exits in the other
Oh,
room.
that's right. That's right. Because there's more exits you have to keep free. Okay, anyway, next discussion topic then. Hospitality floor. That's new this year. Also known as a party floor.
Are we calling it that?
Huh?
Are we calling it that? Is that legally party floor?
People are going to call it the party floor, I'm sure, but technically we're calling it the hospitality floor on our website.
Is there a specific reason for it?
Because the hotel doesn't like the word party.
Perfect.
But they know what it's getting used for. They're completely aware. Hospitality. Anyway.
So if you want to throw your hospitalities here,
it is what we have available for this party floor, hospitality floor. It's not a party floor. What we have available for the hospitality floor is about 44, something like that, hotel rooms on the first floor, I believe. A lot of people don't realize this. This hotel does have hotel rooms on the first floor. You go to the elevator bank for 1 through 7, and you just spin a 180. You face the elevators and turn a 180, and there's a door that leads to a hallway with 40 rooms in it. Yes, there are rooms back there. And not only are there rooms back there, the hallway is carpeted, but all of the rooms are laminate floors.
Yes.
Which is going to make party running a whole lot easier, especially party cleanup a whole lot easier. Laminate.
Okay, so there's one downside to laminate is if you spill liquids on it, it swells and bumps.
Oh, good.
Unlike hardwood floors, laminate has like an MDF layer on the underside, so if you spill liquid, it seeps in there and goes.
Is that at any seam?
Just
duct tape at the seams.
At every seam on every floor?
All floors. No, we'll probably have to work out some kind of.
Gap tape. We have something.
That's a trip hazard.
Okay, so we need to put that down as something we need to check. Is how water resistant is the flooring on the first floor?
So they're fine.
Probably not tested.
Go into the corner, dump a jug of water.
But that said, there's several things I'd like. We need to get a handful of people who are willing to keep an eye on this floor and keep it to a dull roar and make sure that things don't get completely out of control. If things do start getting completely out of control, that's what Flare is for. But
There's some people that
I volunteers tribute.
You have to keep your blood alcohol level between below.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No, as long as you're below 0.08, you're okay.
As long as they can't tell.
So, one requirement is the person who's keeping an eye on the floor does need to be sober enough to function. Like, you're gonna get, since you're kind of the party host, you're like the host for the hosts, they're going to want to give you drinks. They're going to want the party maven to come celebrate with them. That's pretty much a given, but.
Just gonna find the nearest potted plant.
But yeah, you just, try to keep that to a minimum. Just be like, I got to stay on duty. Just give me a tiny bit. I'll drink with you, but just a tiny bit kind of
And it's
thing.
my understanding I don't really have much in terms of AdCom responsibilities, so I'd be happy to join you in that department.
A rule of thumb
But-
I've used in my department in the past is if you can drive, you're good.
Yeah.
If you've gone beyond that, then you need to back off.
Yeah, I would argue that that's pretty much the case for most departments at this con and most volunteers. We're not going to tell you have to be absolutely sober while you're on duty. You just have to be pretty close to sober.
Is Ronnie still considering doing that?
Groggy is one of the people who was interested in being in that team.
No.
So you should keep that in mind. Groggy was one of the people who's interested in being in that team.
Yes.
Um,
You gave me another
Of
name.
course, Carl.
Yeah, the other name was somebody who goes by NN in the fandom. He makes he probably most most likely saw his fursuit that was made primarily out of perler beads.
Oh, yeah.
That guy.
I do remember seeing it.
And he also does a whole bunch of perler bead stuff and gives them away to people. And I don't think he has a table this year, so he might be free to do that too. That was way back at Campfire Tales that he expressed interest, so I got to check with him again if he's interested.
And then Tiger Wren expressed interest when I talked to him about it.
Okay.
Further confusion. So.
The other big, the other really big thing about anybody who's going to run that floor is they've got to be level-headed. Like, they can't be somebody who's gonna fly off the handle if stuff starts going wrong. Like, it's got to be somebody who's really, really good at keeping a cool head. And not everybody can do that. Like, some people panic, and this can't be somebody who panics. Because stuff could go real pear-shaped real fast on that floor if you lose control.
I have experience with that.
What, panicking or stuff going pear-shaped?
I don't want to throw anybody's name under the bus, but that happened, year 2 at Cairo's room?
Oh, yeah, that's right. About stuff going pear-shaped real
Everybody
fast.
else, immediately shrank towards the wall or left the room entirely, and I was the one, holding his hair back, and...
Yeah, I remember. I remember that now. But the other thing I'd like the party mavens to do is to help keep a stock of supplies to help out the party runners. Keep tape and command strips and lots of towels, trash bags.
Hydrophobic spray.
Can we give?
No, but we can put a bottle of Tylenol on a table for somebody to help themselves to.
That doesn't look suspicious at all.
But no. But I think technically you can't give drugs to people. You can only offer that they can take them for themselves.
Not recommend Tylenol to others around.
With alcohol?
Yeah. Also Tylenol and alcohol is not a good idea.
Do you guys have a room blocked out for your hospitality room on that floor?
It's just whichever. We have the entire floor to manually assign whoever is in which room.
Okay.
They have already blocked off the entire floor as a do not book for the entire weekend, and then we tell them which name goes in which room.
So someone, I'm assuming with the convention, will have a
Right.
room booked that she can't be.
That will become the place to put somebody who's had too much.
For lack of a
And
better term, the hydration station.
Yeah.
Which is what we use. So
yeah, I absolutely do want to run a hydration station as
Do
well.
those rooms have outside access at all?
No, I don't believe so.
No, they don't. They do not. No windows don't even open or crack.
That's less than ideal. Mostly because those rooms are probably gonna get hot.
Yes, they will.
And hydration station, usually you want access to the outside and cool air.
I think you get one room that doesn't have a large volume.
Can you-
It's gonna be a lot cooler.
Sika, can you find out if any rooms on that floor at least can get fresh air from outside? If not, they may still have the little stupid vent things in the bottom of the window, and we might be able to pull the same setup that Groggy tried to do in his room a couple years ago, or in his room last year.
For the record, it did not work.
I can confirm that it did not work.
We might be able to use, instead of trying to use an air conditioner, instead of trying to reject heat to the outside that way, maybe we can just use that as a way to pump air into the room from outside.
That's probably a better option.
That might be a better option.
Because what ended up happening is, base wall, really hot.
Yeah.
Could you talk to maybe the con and ask them if they, or sorry, the hotel?
I already had Sika add that to his list of ask if any of those rooms have the ability to get fresh air. If not, we may want to think about putting the hydration station in a different area entirely. But that's going to make it harder to get people to it.
It is. We'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it. It's
Yeah.
mostly just, the rooms tend to get slammed, having seen it with us with the Scout Street. The rooms
Yeah.
tend to get slammed come about 12:15 in the morning, on the party nights.
Yep. Watch the front area of it too. Not going to hurt anything. We might need some stand. That may end up becoming sneak in. So, okay, we'll take it from there. In behind me. People commenting that the okay. So I was kind of hoping for the
People dancing at the festival.
to set it basically to